Welcome back for those that are following along, and welcome to anybody new. This is Pacific Northwest Exposed. My name is Ed Arneson, and waking up to a glorious day here in October. Weather is held here in the Pacific Northwest, so it's an extended summer. And I'm up in the Olympic Mountains with a friend of mine, and I'll bring him on board a little bit later. But in the Olympics on the southeast side, off trail in high country, and in an unnamed lake right here behind me. Spent the night, got here about 5. It was a pretty rugged climb, just about 4 miles, but 30 to 40 degrees straight up. So I knew it was going to kick me, and it sure enough did, but I was ready for anything. This is a long-standing promise that a gentleman I met, master photographer and outdoorsman, and he's tromped around the Olympics all of his life. So he knows his stuff, and the promise was that one day he'd take me with him. And so here we are. So good morning. He's calling me now. We're going to run up and look at the sunrise, and I'll check in later.
Glacial sill area where the glacier course came down off the pass that we came down, filled this whole basin, and these are the side areas where it carved these huge grooves into the rock, basically stripping away the bedrock and making these sort of dome shapes everywhere.
I see.
So it's a real indicator of where the glacier was.
I see. This is my friend Laurence Smith, who I told you about. He's a master photographer and knows his geology, and he's a native to the Olympics here.
He's a master of
everything and has been in here all of his life.
Yeah,
so
everything. I've mastered everything.
He is my guide, and I'm so thankful. So,
I'm grateful you're here, man.
Thank you, Larry. So a hanging lake, Larry, if you'll describe that one more time.
Yeah,
the glacier.
Generally, the terminus of a fairly major glacier has shrunk back, but the terminus of the glacier scoops out the the rock and everything just like a bulldozer. I mean, even bedrock. And again, you get those whaleback forms, which are visible on the lake there. And also at the end of the lake, those are drumlins.
Okay.
And those are glacial landforms where the rock's just been flattened. And when we go over there, you'll see the glacial striations on the rock, where the rock has, the glacier has carried boulders to like sandpaper across that bedrock. So pretty good indicators. That's it.
Beautiful.
Wow, look at this. And you see them everywhere. There, you can see one up there, you see over there. This is all kind of a whaleback up here, this ledge. And that's a trim line up there from the old glacier. So that was probably the furthest extent of the glacier up there that you see where the sun is starting up there. Just below it, it's kind of a ledge. You may not see it with your camera, but it's a ledgy thing. So all this face here is being carved by the lateral moraine of the glacier. And you can visualize the glacier, figure the top of it was up there. So we're sitting in ice here, and down and to the left, and just right down.
Oh.
And that's what carves everything.
I see.
And that's what creates these lakes, big or small. Because the water's, maybe this deep and blue, and you're just kind of working your way around those rock walls to get up above a canyon where Valkyrie comes in. Valkyrie Creek comes in. So then you cross the river over to Valkyrie Creek, cross Valkyrie Creek, go a little further up the river, about a mile, on increasingly beautiful and ancient elk trails. Turn right up Valkyrie Creek, and you just soar up about 3,000 feet right up to the foot of the Jerry Freki Glacier. G-E-R-I-F-R-E-K-I, Jerry Freki. Go figure. Look at the light hitting those trees. Holy mackerel. Be a good shot when the light gets down just a little further and the whole tree is lit.
Okay, I'll
to me, anyway.
Yeah, of course.
Look at that hulk over that, a survivor. These trees are all survivors.
Phenomenal.
They must be able to brush off the wind and the snow pretty well.
And just
typical spire shapes on most of them.
And their nutrients come from that.
Yeah.
And
some of those, look out, they're just like we said on bare rock. I think that's the one that we saw has the roots that go way down.
I see. I see.
I mean, those roots are like 40 feet, 50 feet below, still reaching, those tendrils reaching down. This is alive with pink magenta paintbrush in July.
Oh, beautiful.
I mean, just alive with them. The whole ground is covered here.
Beautiful.
And penstemons, which are those kind of tube-shaped flowers, are fairly common, a lot of varieties of them. Pinks and reds and whites all through there.
Phenomenal. About mid-July?
Mid-July.
Okay.
On a normal year. There'll be a big snowfield there, and then this starts to get bare, and they love that water coming in, getting those seeds to germinate.
I see.
And it's like a pop-up magic show, just like an art thing.
Oh, man.
It's really colorful.
Larry took off this mound here and shot over there, shooting down that way. I followed Larry for quite a long time, and he goes old school. I'll have him tell you about it later, but film, special film, and he's packed big tripod and camera around these Olympics for so long, and his imagery is phenomenal. So definitely someone to try to follow, and not only photography as far as wealth of knowledge, but geology and just nature overall, and pretty phenomenal. So I'm thankful for this trip. He gave me a message a couple weeks ago and said, you ready to go? And I thought he forgot about me. This has been over 2 years. I've been waiting, and so this is special to me. And to get off trail in high country to this lake that very few know about, and so his secret is safe with me, of course. 8:20, and obviously the sun rising up, and I've been here in various areas of the lake from that side, shooting down, and from here shooting down and catching the reflection down there on the lake. And so I was saying earlier, we got in about 5 last night, and the entry point is right there above where he is to the left. Gave us time to set up camp and have a meal and watch the sunset. So we've got a full day ahead of this, and we might do some summiting later. I don't know if I'll follow him if he does, but possibly, and just spend the day here and again tonight.
Detail very clear,
And
even more so than because even a clear digital to me kind of can be sort of contrived if you look at it in comparison to the old analog film. So, but they both have their advantages. But the film, you get up into those larger size transparencies and negatives, the detail is just burned in,
And so your camera is what? The big one that you lug around?
That's a medium format.
Medium
so these
format.
are kind of technically small format, these 35 millimeter, and then medium takes that old 120 film. And there are medium format digitals now but of course that digital sensor is nowhere near as big as the medium format film, but it still kind of equates out to medium format quality. So they call those digital cameras in that specialized field up a notch, medium format cameras.
And the film, the special film that you use that you guys talk about once in a while,
Well,
you and a couple others.
Yeah, Ektachrome.
I see.
Yeah, they knocked it out for probably 15, 20 years, and it's just now come back again.
I see.
There's a lot of startups now because film photography is kind of coming back, especially among the younger generation, which is good. And,
But you've used that all of
I used that all my
career,
life up
yeah.
until probably 5 years ago, 6 years ago. 6 years ago, yeah.
So what's the weight of that camera plus your tripod that you would pack around? I've heard you talk about.
Yeah, with the GX680, which is the larger one, which I prefer to use, but it's a beast.
Okay.
The camera alone is 12 pounds. The lens is 3.
Oh.
Time I put a finder on it a viewfinder, a waist level finder, where you look down into the finder.
I see.
And it's got camera movement, so it's a lot of stuff on it. That, and you got to have a tripod, and you got to have a sturdy one. So that's another 4 pounds.
So
it's a big. You have to have a big one.
You're
big ball head.
feeling it, yeah.
So I'm looking at 20 pounds of equipment, and I don't do that anymore.
Okay.
I'm just.
All right.
It was great, and there's a lot of work to it, and I got some good, what I think are good shots. That detail and clarity, even in medium format. And I was talking to you about large format being, so clarity that there's so much surface there that chemicals really get a chance to work the color in, and the light. That's something I need to more understand. I'd like to know the chemical things that happen, for developing film.
I see.
Or even when the light hits it, the photons hit that film,
And you have a scanner that you process your
an old
your
school
images.
scanner, and it
Okay.
works just as
All
well
right.
as a new $1,000 scanner,
I see.
$1,200 scanners, and you
I
can
see.
buy mine for $35. And I swear
Wow.
to you that I can't tell the difference. Yeah. I have a friend who has a top-end scanner. I took my scanner over to his house. He asked me to, and wanted to see how much better his was, and we were really surprised. It doesn't have the bells and whistles that the top-end ones do now, and the technology is different. It's an old CCD, and now they use, technology changes, so they use various types of sensor devices for, copying or taking a photo or whatever it does of the, of the actual originals, the substrate you have on what do you call that, platinum?
I see. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
something
I
like
think so.
yeah. Platen, Platen, the platen is that glass surface. Anyway, yeah, it's just, my mind's racing because it's beautiful.
Okay, let's do it. All right. I'm holding you up.
I see that camera, and those are the ones that have those striations on them. You just see the direction of the whole glacier, and over here there are some rocks that have striations on them. You can see this was a branch that spilled over into Litchi Creek as an ice fall. So you take all this dirt and all these trees away, it's all, of course, bedrock that's been smoothed in a general way by the big glacier. Now, what we see on the surface here, and we're saying this is all erosion. This used to be smooth, but in the last 8,000 years or so, ice rivation and all this stuff, the rock breaks up at the surface. But it's still, if you look at it in a general term, it's a dome. Everything's a dome shape, a whaleback, a swoop, and that's because of ice. And so this is a niche within the niche of Olympic National Park. This southwestern corner is, right on that windward side. Everything comes in off the ocean. And this ridge that we see up here is actually the penultimate ridge for the initial wave of moisture coming through. So that's why this thing holds so much snow, and that's why it's kind of a glaciated thing, because it is so close to the ocean. Yeah, probably glacier drained both ways, because there's a little bit of glacial background. That's all like this too. It's just metal covered, but it's, so I think probably it was quite thick at the top, and so there was some flow that way too. So it's like almost just a glacial.
That's a paradise island right there.
Again, with a medium or large format camera, the detail is really captured.
Okay.
Have a good weather forecast. Come up like Thursday, Friday, Saturday again,
Well, you know what?
Also, that's spring up here, of course. The spring is wonderful too. Yeah, point and shoot. Don't have to do much. Those reflections are just beyond gorgeous.
Right.
That water rippling now, it just
Yep.
adds, it's just, wow. A dragonfly on a feeding frenzy.
It's amazing. Good morning. It's the third day. We're packing out today at some point. Sorry, I lost you yesterday after interviewing Larry, and we were just like kids in a candy store running around with our cameras, and it was rest and relaxing. But the first day we got here, the evening, we made a counterclockwise circuit around the lake, and then last afternoon made a clockwise circuit, and the light was just phenomenal. And Larry would know, and I'm glad he decided to do that at the time. Sun was setting, obviously, behind, getting lower, and the light on the northern part of the lake was phenomenal. So sorry to abandon you as I did. Just walk and walk and walk. And again, the blueberries are lit up red, October red. That's what I'm going to call this, I think. So anyway, sorry to have abandoned you, and I'm just at the, basically at the foot of Larry's feet, gleaning from him the knowledge in outdoors, exploration. He's been a mountaineer all of his life since he was just a young kid. His grandfather would take him up here and cut him loose at 12 years old and let him go, and basically raised him out here. So, and his photography skills, he's a master. So I hope you've just hung in there, and I'll keep you posted later on. We're going to explore some more this morning, and so we're just going to get moving slowly. He's doing his coffee over there at camp, and just starting to wake up here, and sun's coming up, light's getting good, starting to light up those mountains up there, and slowly get our gear together, maybe take another walk before we pack out. So I'll try to make another entry before we finally climb out of here, and I'll show you. He said it's not bad. It was kind of slow coming in for me, as I was pretty wiped the other day, but we have to climb up and then over that ridge there. But I'm up for it. Give you an overview of where we ran around and shot all day yesterday. Again, we went actually clockwise last evening around the lake. The day before, the evening before, counterclockwise. And the light was phenomenal at the far end there. And this is a hanging lake, he calls it. And it just drops off the ledge on the far side there. And the lake is low. It's a drought this summer. Here it is into October. And no rain. And no rain in the forecast even through another week. You can see the black border all the way around the lake. That's how far it has dropped and stayed that way. Then he and I climbed up and over. We were going to summit another area, high point. It's out of sight here. Then up and around, and then back over. I didn't bring my camera yesterday afternoon when I walked, but this goes to the end. This glacial area goes to an end there, not too far beyond those trees there. And so he and I just explored that a little bit more, and there's a dried up little lake on the far side. And then you come out to a ridge, and you just stand there and you look east and just see forever. So with all the fires going on around the area, there's been low haze, Seattle metropolitan area and all of that. So a little bit in the air this morning, but other than that, we can't smell the smoke. We smelt it a little bit coming in the other night, but none now. So it didn't even frost. It has not frosted up here yet, and we thought it would do so. Some moisture and dew, of course, but I could take this coat off now. It's almost warm. It's phenomenal. So, and then last entry, I was with him interviewing. When I interviewed Larry, we went up high, and then looking down on the lake here, and pretty phenomenal. He has summited this peak here before. I thought maybe we would do that yesterday afternoon, but we did not, and which is fine by me. There's just plenty here, so we just ran around with our cameras and shot and shot and shot, and I'm excited. This is phenomenal. High country, backcountry, off-trail, and southwestern Olympic Mountains, Washington State. While I was dinking around, he served me up instant oatmeal. I brought a bunch of trail mix and dried mangoes and tangerines, Trader Joe's stuff. It's light, goes great, and that's really all I need. And last night he had some nachos and some cheese, warmed that up over his stove in little cups. We just dined like you wouldn't believe last night. So we're just picking and choosing now and waiting for that sun to come up. It's happening fast. So what a way to wake up. So just to give you an idea, and also this lake has been studied. Larry is saying that it's probably one of the 10 most pure, pristine, cleanest water on the planet. And again, this is high Olympics. And as we went over and shot this way last evening, he said the light was probably the best you can get for photographers. And to just give you an idea, and so little sediment in the lake as well. See the reflection here? That's probably just a fraction of the depth of reflection that we had with the evening soft light last night. It's pretty sweet. Yeah, we had a bite to eat. We're just kind of dinking around now, enjoying the light. He and I both waited for the shadow that was above on the trees there. And of course the shadow was cast down on the lake, and that basically has disappeared and is gone. So I stood back and I caught in the far right corner that rock there with the red blueberry. Focus stacked 3 images, third exposure, about where the mirror meets the land, and then third exposure, the top of that peak there, and it's just a mirror. And then the same over here, 3 exposures. I had a leading line here along the beach, some of the foliage there, and then the reflection, that boulder in the trees, and again, just another mirror.
Cedar foliage is nice. Western red cedar only kind of dwarfed,
Right.
dwarfism.
Right.
Look at the knobs.
Yes.
Man. I told Mr. Landon or whatever, just snip that, just keep this umbrella.
Right.
Who knows?
Yep.
Do whatever you want.
Right.
Whatever looks good. But there is a method for making it max, I think.
Right, and
Watch those Japanese guys, and they're just...
Yep. And they don't break the rules of nature either. They keep the tree as you would find it, naturally in certain
but they'll
places.
trim it a little.
Oh, by all means, yes.
Pretty still around here.
It is.
It's just hanging here. This lake's just hanging here. Wow. Outrageous. Take a practice panel. Okay.
I didn't get in your way, did I?
No. I got 120. Yeah, no, 180 would I could put absolutely right to you. Puffy thing.
Right.
Yeah, a bunch of flowers on a puffbally thing. Yeah, bear grass. Yeah, that would be pretty. Then in July, this will be blooming beautifully, bear grass.
Oh, how about
So you
that?
have that. To me, looks like ancient, way back Jurassic period kind of stuff. You know, when it's blooming.
I see.
Against this,
I see.
can you imagine?
Oh, yeah.
That alone is the reason to come all the way up here. Just that. Let alone this other fluff, you know. Look at that bonsai. Look what he did to himself here.
Oh, yeah.
Shit. Or she, actually, Methuselah.
Right.
Look what she did to herself here. She said, I discarded it. But she's not done with it because that'll turn to soil eventually.
Right.
If she's still living, she'll grab onto that. And who knows how much longer she could live.
Right.
Actually, conditions are probably more favorable now. It's not as cold by a degree or so, and maybe that 1 degree helps. Dang. Isn't that something?
It
and
is.
like you talked about, those ribbons of bark serve as arteries, veins and arteries, whatever. Arteries, all they need is uptake.
Mm-hmm. And you notice, as we talked about, the apex will die, you know?
Absolutely.
And then it eventually begins anew, apex,
Absolutely.
you know, all throughout.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Down below on that next one, apex gone, and now a new one.
Just self-sustained, just like it recycles itself. Right?
Right.
Wow. And just pretty much prostrate over that rock, although there are those upwellings, like you're talking about, just new vigorous growth there for a while, and it's pretty limber. It's probably going to take a lot of snow to hurt that thing, you know.
One more time, Larry. One more time, please.
Oh, well, we're looking at the Burke Range with Muncaster there, and then those peaks, that pointy peak out there is Muncaster. And actually, you go up Fire Creek, which you can see to the left of it and down out of the Quinault there. You go up that little valley there, go up to a little pass on the right side of Muncaster, and then those peaks out to the right there. On the north side are big plateaus and green, and you just cruise along there for about 5 miles to Chimney Peak. You have to come back that way because it's cliffy.
I see.
Down otherwise, and come back down Fire Creek. Really a nice round trip.
Mm-hmm.
And then to the left over there, that massif kind of on the horizon is the Mount Christie Massif. There's 3 glaciers on the other side, and one of them's pretty good sized. Yeah, surprising how the northeast aspect of these slopes, it keeps that ice because it's shaded.
I see.
Yeah. And then the country I was in last week is out to the right there, over that wooded peak here in the foreground, off to the right in the distance out there.
Okay.
Kind of out in the haze.
Yep.
Looks like barren, but it's really not. That's the Mount Anderson area.
I see.
Spent a whole week out there last week.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah. So that's that area. And of course, Mount Olympus on the horizon, just barely see part of it. Cool. Look at that.
Look at that.
What that here? Right?
Awesome.
Both one to the other, don't cut across together.
Right.